This is the first session in electrochemistry in which you will be learning about electrochemical cell and electrode potential. You are all familiar with electrolysis. Electrolysis is the process in which electricity is passed through an electrolyte and chemical reaction is brought about. The simplest example would be to pass electricity through acidified water when you get hydrogen gas at the cathode and oxygen gas at the anode. So we have passed electricity to bring about a chemical decomposition. Think the reverse of that. You will be performing a chemical reaction and producing electricity from that. For that, let us consider the simple experiment, familiar experiment of dipping a zinc plate in a copper salt solution. Leave it there for some time. You will notice a red deposit of copper on the zinc plate. We can write an equation for the reaction. This zinc solid plus Cu2 plus aqueous giving Zn2 plus aqueous plus Cu solid. This is a simple displacement reaction. You can also look at it as a redox reaction. Zinc is losing electron forming Zn2 plus ions and Cu2 plus ions are gaining those electrons to form Cu solid. So electron loss and gain are taking place, but there is no separation between the electron giver and the electron gainer. If we are able to separate and allow the electrons given by the zinc atoms to pass through an electrical wire, we would have produced electricity. Let me explain. I am going to take zinc plate or zinc electrode in zinc sulfate solution in a beaker. This is zinc rod and this is zinc sulfate solution. In another beaker, I am taking a copper plate and dipping it in copper sulfate solution. Now I am connecting the two by means of electrical wire. I have a galvanometer in the connection and a tap key. Now if you insert the tap, if you insert the tap key, you can see a momentary deflection in the galvanometer that shows that electricity is passing through that, but that will be just for a fleeting second. It will stop because of the obvious reason that the circuit is not completed. For completing the circuit in this setup, we use what is called a salt bridge. It is a double bent tube. I will show that separately here. See, it is a double bent tube like this, which both sides are open, but it is filled with a gel. You can put it across, connecting the liquids in the two beakers. It is filled with a gel and the gel contains solutions of electrolytes like KNO3, KCl or NaNO3. These ions do not interfere with the reactions taking place in these two beakers. That is, they will not be causing any precipitation. So these are called inert electrolytes here. But this salt bridge has two specific functions, two important things it does. One is it completes the circuit. It completes the circuit by allowing the ions to pass through that. Completes the circuit by allowing the ions to pass through. Secondly, it prevents the accumulation of ions of same charge. Prevents accumulation of charges. Accumulation of charges. See, zinc is going into solution as zinc ions. As the reaction continues, there will be a collection of positively charged zinc ions here. here copper ions are getting deposited. So copper ions will be depleting in the solution, and there will be a concentration of sulfate ions here. Like ions of the same charge, when they get accumulated, the passing of current or passing of electrons will be inhibited. Now these ions, negatively charged ions of the electrolyte will attract the positive ions here, and the positively charged ions will attract the negative ions from here to pass through the salt bridge. Thus the salt bridge performs the two functions here. Now in this setup, instead of a galvanometer, if you put a voltmeter, then this setup is called an electrochemical cell. If you have a voltmeter with the two electrodes in the electrolytes with the salt bridge to complete the circuit, this setup is called an electrochemical cell. This is the anode compartment. In this particular cell, the zinc is the anode compartment, copper is the cathode compartment. Such a cell is also called a galvanic cell. The zinc anode has a negative charge. Zinc anode has a negative charge here, and the positive copper has copper cathode has a positive charge. Why do we call it negative? Because the electrons are flowing away from that. So this is negative, and the electrons are flowing towards the copper plate, so that is positive. But what is the reaction that is taking place here? Zinc is getting oxidized. So losing electrons and getting oxidized. Oxidation is the reaction that is taking place here, and reduction is taking place at the cathode. Here there is some cause for confusion. In electrolysis, anode has a positive charge and cathode has a negative charge. In electrolysis of water, the anode the reaction taking place at anode would be the oxide ion losing the two electrons to form half O2 gas. That is, it's again oxidation. The oxide ion losing two electrons to form half O2 gas, and at cathode the two hydrogen ions gain the two electrons to form H2 gas. This is reduction. But you know, anode must be positive. That is why the oxide ions are attracted to the anode, and cathode is negative, and the positive hydrogen ions are moving towards the cathode. But the reactions are again oxidation at anode and reduction at cathode. So the rule is the electrode at which oxidation takes place is anode, oxidation at anode and reduction at cathode. So there is no change in that, reduction at cathode. Now in the reaction in the electrochemical cell, I said the voltmeter gives you the EMF or the voltage of the cell. We can also say it gives you the potential difference. When we talk of potential difference, we mean that the two electrodes have their own electrode potential values. The voltmeter reading gives the difference in the potentials of the two electrodes. The potential of each electrode is called the single electrode potential. And when you take the pure metal rod, when the metal rod is pure, electrode plate is pure metal rod, pure metal, and the solution is at 1 molar concentration at 298 Kelvin, 298 Kelvin. The electrode potential of each electrode, it's said to be standard electrode potential. Standard electrode potential. To understand the term electrode potential, I would tell you it is the ease with which a metal goes into solution as ions. A metal M solid goes into solution as Mn plus aqueous. It is a measure of the ease with which a metal goes into solution as ions. If you take zinc solid, it becomes Zn2 plus 2 electrons. And compare it with copper, which goes into solution as Cu2 plus. Now with your experience, previous knowledge, you know that zinc is more reactive than copper. Zinc is going into solution with greater ease as ions than copper. So this would have a higher electrode potential than this, we can say. So it is a measure of the ease with which a metal goes into solution as ions. Now when the single electrode potentials are to be measured, we need a reference. We need a reference in comparison with which only we can attribute absolute values for these electrode potentials. The reference is taken as the hydrogen electrode, which is called the standard hydrogen electrode or normal hydrogen electrode. In the diagram, you see the depiction of normal hydrogen electrode, which consists of a platinum rod, platinum plate. Here you see a platinum plate which is coated with platinum black to make it more conducting. It is kept in a container with an open mouth here, which is dipped into a solution of acid at 1 molar concentration. This tube in which the electrode is infused has a side tube through which hydrogen gas at 1 bar pressure is pumped in. So the hydrogen gas is bubbled through the acid solution around the electrode. Now the equation for the reaction would be H2 gas going into solution as 2H plus 2 electrons. This is the reaction, and it is assigned an arbitrary value of 0 volt. This is assigned an arbitrary value of 0 volt. We know we compare the reactivity of any metal with hydrogen. So the electrode potentials are also measured in comparison with hydrogen. For that also we have taken hydrogen as the standard electrode. Now if you want to determine the electrode potential of any particular metal, you have to combine that with the hydrogen electrode and form an electrochemical cell. And the reading on the voltmeter will give you the electrode potential of the metal. For example, if you take the zinc metal, now the reaction will be zinc solid plus 2H plus aqueous will be Zn2 plus aqueous plus H2 gas. That is, if you combine the zinc electrode and the hydrogen electrode to form an electrochemical cell, this will be the reaction that will be taking place. So zinc is losing electrons, so zinc will be the anode. Zinc will be the anode and hydrogen electrode will be the cathode. That will be the cathode. When you connect like that, you will be having a reading of say 0.76 volt on the voltmeter. You see that the voltmeter in the connection in this electrochemical cell gives you a value of 0.76, which we can say is the oxidation electrode potential. Oxidation electrode potential of zinc. Oxidation electrode potential of zinc. How do we represent that? E naught, because this 0 stands for the standard standard electrode potential. I told you for that the pure metal is dipped in a solution of 1 molar concentration. The concentration of the solution here is 1 molar. This is a pure metal rod and it is Zn becoming Zn2 plus. Isn't it? So this is the oxidation electrode potential, which is 0.76 volt. Now when you take a copper electrode, you know copper is less reactive than hydrogen, so you have to connect it as the cathode. You have to connect the copper as the cathode here with the hydrogen electrode, and the reading on the voltmeter would be 0.34 volt. 0.34 volt. But remember, it is reduction that is taking place here, so we will represent it as E naught Cu 2 plus bar Cu. Notice it carefully. Here Zn2 plus, here Cu2 plus Cu. So this is reduction electrode potential. This is 0.34 volt. Similarly, when we take any metal M, we can determine E naught M N plus bar M. That is, this will be the reduction electrode potential. Now, how do you know whether a metal is more reactive than hydrogen or less reactive than hydrogen? You can simply connect it with the hydrogen electrode and complete the circuit with a salt bridge and a voltmeter. If you get a reading on the voltmeter, if you connect it at the cathode, say the metal, this metal you take, and this metal M you are connecting at the anode, connecting as the anode with the hydrogen electrode, and you may get a reading. When you get some positive reading on the voltmeter, that means your connection is correct, and this acts as the anode. But if it is not giving you any deflection on the voltmeter, the pointer will not move at all. That means the connection is wrong. You have to connect it as the cathode. And when you connect it as the cathode, you will get a reading on the voltmeter. That is its reduction electrode potential, which will be a positive value. So, depending on the reading on the voltmeter, you will know whether the metal is more reactive than hydrogen or less reactive than hydrogen. For all those metals which are more reactive than hydrogen, you will get positive value for oxidation electrode potential. For those metals which are less reactive than hydrogen, you will get a positive value for reduction electrode potential. But for the sake of comparison and standardization, we take only reduction electrode potential as the standard potential. When we say standard electrode potential, we mean only the reduction electrode potential, which is represented by this. Reduction electrode potential, which is represented by this. Now, when we see the voltmeter reading in the electrochemical cell, it gives you the potential difference between the two electrodes. This way, the electrode potentials of different elements can be determined using standard hydrogen electrode, and the values have been tabulated. This is the list giving you the standard electrode potentials of various elements. Let us try to understand the data here. Now you see hydrogen here at this juncture giving you a 0 volt. It is giving you a 0 volt there, and you are given some metals below hydrogen with negative values. Look at those metals. You have here the very familiar zinc, aluminium, magnesium, very reactive sodium. All these metals we know for sure that they are more reactive than hydrogen. All these have negative electrode potentials. How do we understand that? See here, zinc is given a value of minus 0.76. We already saw the value of plus 0.76 as its oxidation electrode potential. Since we have taken the reduction electrode potential as the standard potential, that is given with a negative sign. That is the only difference between oxidation and reduction electrode potentials. They have to be taken with the opposite sign. So the reduction electrode potentials of all these reactive metals are having a negative sign, and the elements which are less reactive than the hydrogen, they all have a positive values for the reduction electrode potentials. Now the electrode potentials are listed in the decreasing order of their overall value, including the sign, the decreasing order of their value. But you know, these are readily, and the elements below hydrogens undergo spontaneous oxidation. When they undergo spontaneous oxidation, they are very good reducing agents. So we can also say that the list is given in the order of their increasing reducing power. Can we say that? We can say that this list is in the increasing order of reducing power. Look at fluorine, which is at the top. You know, fluorine is a very good oxidizing agent. It is the best oxidizing agent known. So it is the least having the least reducing power. This is having the least reducing power. So this is at the top. At the bottom you have lithium, which is which readily undergoes oxidation. That means it's a very good reducing agent. So it is increasing reducing power. You can understand in that way also. So from a knowledge of the electrode potential values, we will be able to draw so much of information. In fact, this is what is going to help us in constructing electrochemical cells with any two given metals. About all these things we will learn in a different session.